Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we are going to break down the best tips and tricks for using the brand new Disney Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. That's right, we're jumping into one of the newest tools at Walt Disney World, and we have been using the Disney Genie Plus a lot ever since Disney released it in November of 2021, and Disney has also made some changes to the brand new Disney Genie along the way, which has of course added to the fun of trying to figure out how to use this brand new tool and how am I getting the most out of this tool, because it is a pay per day option. So with that being said, we are going to break down everything to try to help you get the most out of your Disney vacation. So if you are in the process of planning a Disney vacation and you're trying to figure out, is the Disney Genie Plus worth it, or how am I getting the most out of my Disney Genie Plus when I do upgrade for this service, just stick around to the end of this video because we're going to break down some of the best tips and tricks that we have picked up over these past couple of months. I am really excited for this video. Let's go get started. Thank you all so much for checking out this video. Like I said, we are about to jump into the best tips and tricks for using the Disney Genie Plus at Walt Disney World. And for those guests who are watching at home, if you are planning a Disney vacation and it does seem like you do want videos like this, if you're going to want more videos like this, just be sure to go and subscribe to our channel, as we are going to have a lot more vacation planning videos like this coming out in the coming weeks. But back over to the Disney Genie. Now, of course, the Disney Genie is a new skip the line and planning service that is embedded into the My Disney Experience app. And of course, Disney says that it is designed to make vacation planning easier. And to be honest, I don't know if it's doing that just yet, but that's where we're coming in. We're trying to help you figure out and plan a better vacation. It is the paid replacement. Essentially what this is, it's the paid replacement for the Disney Fast Pass service. If you remember the old Fast Pass, those old tickets that essentially allow you to skip the line, well, Disney's now charging for that. It is the Disney Genie Plus service. And like we said, the Disney Genie Plus has already changed a few times since its debut in 2021, which of course somewhat complicates the process. And of course, we are going to cover some of those newest updates to the system and give you the best tips and tricks along the way. Very quickly, here is the current rules for the Disney Genie Plus system. So anyone can start booking them at 7 a.m. on-site resort hotel guests and non-resort guests. But for the individual premium Lightning lanes, only Disney Resort guests can start booking them at 7 a.m. and non-resort guests do have to wait until the park opens up. And just to confirm, that is when the park opens up at the park that you have your reservation for. And long story short, essentially what you're going to be doing with the Disney Genie Plus is you're kind of going to be making a reservation, and then you can go and you skip that line, you scan your ticket in. Now, you could book Lightning lanes for Genie Plus either after you've used your first one, right? So once you go, you make your reservation, let's say for Pirates of the Caribbean. Once you go and you use your Disney Plus reservation, you can now make a new one. So you can make one at a time, or if it has been 120 minutes since the last time you booked, you can then make a second Disney Genie Plus reservation. Now, one of the biggest changes we have seen is that guests park hopping will notice that they can now only book Lightning lanes for the park they are hopping to for return times after 2 p.m. or later, which is really the main point of park hopping. You can't park hop till after 2, so it's useful to actually have this. This is something that Disney did do the right way. And now that you guys have the basics, let's jump into those tips and tricks. And starting with tip and trick number 1, we have stacking. Now, a big tip of ours to make sure you aren't missing any time is by stacking your Lightning lanes as soon as possible. Now, like we said, even with all the rules in place, if you strategically book your Lightning lanes, you can easily stack them to make sure you are set for the day. Now, when we talk about stacking, essentially what we're talking about is when you use that first one, you are constantly booking your Lightning lanes as they become available. And not only when you use the first one, but like we said, if you make your first Disney Genie Plus reservation and it's been 120 minutes, let's say you're trying to get one of the most popular rides and the first reservation that was available was 4 hours away. When 120 minutes passes, so essentially that's 2 hours, if my math is correct, after 2 hours, you can make a second selection. So what we're saying is stacking is you want to make sure you do that as soon as possible. Not only that, but when it comes to the Disney Premium Lightning Lane selections, you can have one of the regular Disney Genie Plus selections, so you can make a Disney Genie Plus selection to go and to skip a line, but then also there's premium rides. There's, at this point, one premium ride in each of the Disney parks. Of course, that might change based on the time of year it is and whatever rules Disney has in place. But with that being said, you can make one Disney Genie Plus selection. Then you can also have one Disney Premium selection. So you're stacking you're stacking your rides at that point as well. And then of course, make sure that as you're scanning into your ride, you're pretty much hopping on you're hopping on the app, have the kids hop on the app, and then make your next selection right after that. Don't waste any time. You don't have to wait till you're off of the ride. You just have to scan into that ride. And then don't forget, we highly suggest looking for the most popular attractions at 7 a.m. as soon as they open up. And we might get into the most popular attractions in a little bit and just kind of help you game plan which ride should you go after first, just to make sure that you get on the most popular rides. Okay, so moving on to tip and trick number 2, and we would say make sure that you continue to refresh the app. Now, some guests using the Disney Genie Plus Lightning Lane or the individual Lightning Lanes get discouraged when they open their app and don't see the attractions they want. But one of the most important tips we can give you is keep refreshing. Now, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 times of refreshing just to see that Lightning Lane selection to get the attraction you want. This is because the Disney Genie Plus is a live system that is constantly changing. If we've learned anything, Disney's technology can be a little glitchy. So Lightning Lanes are being opened up and they're getting booked all the time. The app, like we said, can be glitchy and you might have to constantly refresh to see something eventually populate for a new Lightning Lane attraction. And then moving on to the next one, this one is more of a strategic, I would say, game plan, but make sure to set alarms. Now, of course, like we said, the Disney Genie Plus rides are up for grabs at 7 a.m. every morning. That is the same for off-site resort guests and on-site Disney resort guests. The premium selections are a bit different, but more so just make sure that you set an alarm and you are ready to roll at 7 a.m. Not only that, remember, if you made your first selection and it's been 120 minutes since you made that selection and you haven't gone on that first ride yet, make sure to set an alarm for the 120 minutes so that when you hit that point, you can then make your second Disney Genie Plus selection and you're not wasting any time. Okay, now moving on to the free Disney Genie tool. Now, if you already set up your Genie tip board for the day, as you ride attractions and decide what your must-dos or don'ts might be, make sure you keep updating your Genie tip board. And long story short, what the Genie tip board is essentially Disney's going to ask you a bunch of questions. Just try to get a better feel for what type of rides you would like to go on, what you're most interested in. The free aspect of the tool is going to, kind of recommend rides throughout the day. They might recommend that you upgrade to Disney Genie Plus, right? But that's the whole basis of the tool. So you want to make sure that you're keeping it up to date. And another important reason to make sure that you are keeping your must-dos up to date is that the tip board, like we said, will recommend those rides like kind of first. So it will be easier for you to make your next Disney Genie Plus selection if you do have the Genie tip board up to date. And a couple of other tips and tricks regarding using the free Genie tool. If you are park hopping, we also highly suggest changing your free Disney Genie tool, letting it know which park you're in. And that's just going to help you, repopulate your choices and help you plan for whichever park you're in that day at the moment. All right, moving on. And the next tip and trick is make sure that you don't use the Disney Genie Plus on their lower wait time ride. Now, using the free Genie tool, you can check out wait times throughout the day and see which attractions are more popular than others. Now, this is important because if we find that the wait time is under 30 minutes and there are other attractions with higher wait times, we would recommend trying for those instead. And then of course, while you're waiting for your queue or for your group to kind of be called to go and then skip that line, you can go and tackle the rides with the lower wait times. Okay, so moving along, and we have redemption passes. Now, if you happen to use the Disney Genie Plus and you get something called a redemption pass, note that this does not count as a booked Disney Genie Plus, a booked Lightning Lane. And what this essentially is let's say you make a Genie Plus for a ride and that ride breaks down. Well, Disney still wants you, you use the app at that point. They want to make sure that you do have the ability to go and get on the ride with lower wait times. So they give you what is essentially a redemption pass. Now you can go and then use that pass to, like it sounds, to then go and jump on the Lightning Lane and have that lower wait time. Where I'm going with this is that it does not count as a booked Disney Genie Plus. So what we are suggesting is if you get a redemption pass, make sure you hop on the app immediately and make your next Disney Genie Plus selection. And this is probably one of my favorite tips and tricks because you kind of have two at that point. You're turning a negative, which is the ride probably going down, into a positive where you do have two selections. And then the redemption passes, the other cool thing is you could use them at a majority of the rides. You don't specifically have to go back and use it at that ride. Okay, so moving on, and we have don't wait to book a park hopping Lightning Lane. And we discussed park hopping a little bit, but one of the coolest things that we do find now is you don't have to wait until you're in the second or third park to book a Lightning Lane for that park. That's right. The second you scan all your touch points for the Lightning Lane in the park you're in, make sure to start checking for the new park. And of course, this is really only if you are done using your Disney Genie Plus on the rides in that park. But with that being said, if you know that you're park hopping over to Epcot and you definitely want to take advantage of one of the popular rides over there like Remy's or Frozen, right, you could start looking while you're in the first park, and you can make your selection after 2 o'clock, of course, in that other park. And moving along, we know that there's so much going into the days. You can obviously see there's a lot going into planning, and something might come up, right? So what happens if you miss your Disney Lightning Lane Genie Plus selection? Now, there is a grace period for the most part in a lot of situations. Now, if you end up missing your return time for the Lightning Lane, you can always check to see if they still will allow you to ride it. Now, this is not guaranteed because on the very, very busy days, they might not allow you to do this. It all depends on the capacity of the ride and what the crowds are like for that day. But you might have a little flexibility or a little extra fluff on either side to make your Lightning Lane choices. And again, we would say if it's been a long time since the last time your Lightning Lane return time has passed, always check with a cast member just to see if there's anything they could do for you. Okay, and last but not least, we would say always make sure you have a game plan. Always make sure you have your top ride priorities going into your day if you are going to use the Genie Plus. Again, because this is a paid service, it's $15 per person per day. At the time of this recording, we want to make sure you get the most out of your day. Now, moving over to Magic Kingdom, here are the rides that we would say try to target first in this order for the Disney Genie Plus if you plan to go on them. And we're starting with Peter Pan's Flight. Second, we're moving over to Jungle Cruise. Then we have Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Splash Mountain, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and essentially everything after that would just be, I wouldn't prioritize them, just kind of at your own desire whenever you'd like to go on them using the Genie Plus. Okay, moving over to Epcot, and we're going to start out with Frozen Ever After, and one of the main reasons why we're doing this, and we have Test Track at number 2. One of the main reasons why we're doing this is we typically just recommend 2 rope drop for Test Track, so that's one of the reasons why. You can always very easily flip-flop them, whichever one you prefer. And then coming in at number 3, we do have Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Quick note, the important thing to keep in mind for the most popular ride in Walt Disney World right now, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, that is still a virtual queue. So it's either a virtual queue for that ride or the premium selection for Guardians of the Galaxy. I would always try to do the virtual queue first, but those are the top priorities over at Epcot. We have Soarin'. Soarin', the wait time has kind of fallen off a little bit, so we would say that's a number 4 on the list of priorities. Everything else after that is just go as you please. Okay, moving over to Hollywood Studios, and this is an easy one. At number 1, it always is going to be Slinky Dog Dash because this one by far sells out the quickest out of all the rides at Disney World. Coming in at number 2, we would have Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We have Toy Story Mania, Rock and Roller Coaster, and then the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. After that, everything after that is go as you please. Okay, and then last but not least, we do have Animal Kingdom, and the priority here is going to be Kilimanjaro Safaris, and then of course we have Navi River Journey at number 2. This is an easy park, to be honest with you. Kind of very similar to Epcot. There's only a couple up top. I would say maybe Dinosaur would be number 3 here, followed by Expedition Everest. But with that being said, those are the top priorities. We would definitely have Kilimanjaro Safaris at number 1. And so those are the list, guys. That is pretty much the video. Those are the best tips and tricks we have picked up to this point, just to get you as familiar as possible with the process, just to make sure that you are getting the most out of your Disney Genie Plus day. I'm sure there's some tips and tricks that we missed, but if you at home are Disney Genie Plus vets at this point, if you use the tool a bunch, and if there's anything that you do want to share with us, just be sure to leave it in the comment section. We would love to take a look, check it out, learn something new as well. But again, like we said, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope that you did find this video helpful. And if you are in the process of planning a Disney World vacation and you do need some additional tips and tricks, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. This was a pretty long one. I think that's all the time we have for today. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.